the 7 biggest mistakes you make when networking. I I request you to start with the number 7, so that way number 1 is at the end. You know, it's like a New Year's countdown.
Okay. So let's start with number 7.
What will be the number 7 biggest mistake? I will be taking notes.
Okay, that's a deal. I hope everybody out there will be taking notes as well. I think the 7th biggest mistake that most people make when networking, and I've observed this for 30 years of my life, networking literally with tens of thousands of people all over the world. I've given out over 100,000 business cards in over 30 years. And people ask me all the time, Muhammad, aren't you worried about giving so many business cards out that people are going to bug you and they're going to ask you for... No, I'm not worried. I'm never worried. Why? Because 99.99% of the people I've ever given a business card to will never, ever follow up. So the 7th biggest mistake that most people make is they get business cards, they meet important people like you, Muhammad, or myself, and just, you know, people meeting me. Here is the master networker. I've written 4 books on the subject, and people still don't follow up. There's lots of reasons why people don't follow up. So please follow up. When you get your business cards, when you talk to people, make sure that you take those business cards at the end of the evening. If you're out and about, if you're in a hotel room like I am many nights, right? I get my business cards, I make notes on the back, and I immediately go to my computer and I either send them an email, I thank them, send them a personal note, depending on who I was talking to. Follow up. Follow up. It's extremely important. It's extremely important in sales. It's extremely important in life. And it's certainly important as an effective networker, because without following up, how are you going to build a bond? How are you going to begin the process of cultivating that relationship? Follow up. So that's the 7th thing, the 7th biggest mistake that most people make.
I couldn't agree more on this one. Like, I agree with you more than 1,000%. You know, we met together at CEO Space, and we took if you recall, we took a dinner picture on a dinner table. In fact, that picture is posted on this Hangout.
That's right.
So, and then I send you the personal note with attached to the picture, because I'm assuming, as Dr. Fraser, you are like you got probably hundreds of cards. You will not remember me on that one. So when you meet someone, take a business card, take a contact information, and also take a picture together.
Yes.
When you follow up, first you are watching this, so you will not be doing a no follow up. You will be following up. That's why you're learning on this one. So once you follow up, send that picture together. I just want to add that one, so that way that really reconnect everything together. Oh yeah, I remember this guy. You know.
Right. Well, you know, of the 107 business cards I collected at CEO Space, which is the gold standard for networking in America. They've been doing this for 25 years. I got over 110 business cards. Out of the 110 business cards, only 6 people followed up. You were one of them. And as a result of your following up, here we are together, teaching people, sharing knowledge, right? And so this is what can happen.
Yeah, folks, 110 and there's only 6 people followed up. Let me ask a simple question. Why the 104 people went to that event for 9 days? Why even go to that event?
Right. What's the point? Why put in all that effort? Why give your card, right, if you're not following up? 6 people followed up. And those 6 people, we've been in contact with each other, we're doing things with each other, we're sharing information, we're learning from each other, we're growing, we're building our businesses, we're improving our careers, we're improving our lives. I mean, what's so hard about that?
That leads to our number 6 mistake.
Number 6. My observation as a master networker, the 6th biggest mistake that people make is a poor first impression, beginning with they don't have a business card. You know how many people I've met at business meetings that don't have a business card, and they have to run and write their email and address and name and address on a piece of toilet paper or a piece of whatever, you know, they have handy. Well, let me tell you what happens when I get your information on toilet paper. I do with that what you do with toilet paper. Right? I mean, it's crazy. Why would you go to a business meeting and not have a business card? What's the point? So, A, bring a business card so you can make a good impression, and have a nicely designed business card. The B part of that is body language and facial expressions. And I think people really need to pay attention to what their face looks like in an organic or natural state. And the best way to do that is to get up in the morning, go look in the mirror, and relax your face and see what kind of expression that your face communicates when you are not conscious of how you're moving the 10,000 muscles in your face. There are a lot of people, unless they fix their face right, they really are pushing people away. They're really saying, I don't want to be bothered with. Now, they don't mean to say that, but their facial expression along with their body language is not open and not inviting. So take a look at your facial expression, take a look at your body language, and practice it in the mirror so that when you're out in the public, you have an inviting body language and inviting face. And I think the third part of a first impression is introduction. People make very poor introductions. And if you have a 5-minute or 10-minute conversation with someone, basically 9 minutes of the conversation is about you and 1 minute is about them. It should be reverse, right? The 1 minute should be about you and the 9 minutes should be about them. What you're trying to do is you're trying to ask the right questions. You're trying to bring out of that person what their interests are, what's valuable to them, what projects they're working on, and you're going through your mental Rolodex to see if there's something in your network, someone in your network, some resource that you have access to that you can provide them assistance and help right away. That's exactly what you did, Muhammad. You knew that you did Google Hangouts. You knew the kind of work that I do was very, very subjective, not subjective, but susceptible to a Google Hangout, and that's immediately what you offered. You know, he might be great on a Google Hangout. That serves my public, and that serves me, and that serves Dr. Fraser. So that's what we have to do. We have to make the right first impression. So there are 5 components of a good first impression, and a good what we call elevator pitch. Let's put it that way. And an elevator pitch should be no longer than 20 seconds long. And the 5 elements are who you are, where you're from, what you do. The 4th and 5th are how do you add value, and then quantify the value that you really add. So let me give you my 20-second pitch, okay? Hi, I'm George Fraser from Cleveland, Ohio, by way of Brooklyn, New York. I'm the CEO and founder of FraserNet Incorporated. I write books and speak on networking and building effective relationships all over the world. I help people turn acquaintances into friends and contacts into contracts. And over the last 30 years, I've helped over 5,000 people find just the right opportunity and over $500 million in new business. Good to meet you. That's 25 seconds, about 75 words. And then you turn the conversation to them. So make a good first impression.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. In fact, once I learned this one from you, I try to write it. You know, in offline, I'm going to show you how my 25-second really came up at the end. You know.
All right, don't take 10 minutes to introduce yourself. Don't even take 1 minute to introduce yourself. And yes, you have to craft the statement. Take time to craft it, count the words, practice it, practice it, practice it, practice it, so it becomes organic and natural, and then get on with networking.
Thank you, Dr. Fraser. That leads us to number 5, networking mistake.
Right. The 5th biggest mistake that we make, and I spoke to this earlier, is that we don't spend enough time networking, right? The average person spends about 14 or 15% of their time. They don't spend enough time. You need to be spending somewhere between 40 and 50% of your time cultivating, nurturing, and building relationships at work, at home, and in the community. That's what you need to do. I spend more than 60% of my time working on cultivating, nurturing, and building relationships at work, at home, in the community, and I fly 350,000 miles a year. I'm on the road 20 to 25 days per month, but I still find the time to meet new people, to cultivate those relationships, to get business cards, and to follow up. So you have to put in your mind that building relationships is critical. Without it, you will not succeed in business, you will not succeed in life, you will not succeed in the community. So we make a mistake not thinking that that's important, and thinking that our intelligence, that our skills, that what I do and my work speaks for me. No, it doesn't. There's an old saying, if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. Well, that's not true. The world will not beat a path to your door unless the world knows about your better mousetrap. They got to know about it to beat it to your door. And for them to know about it, you have to be out in the world talking about the work that you do and how it adds value and serves others.
Folks, that's what we're doing. We are doing this hangout, so that way it's more exposure for Dr. Fraser, what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing right now. You see that? Even though you have it, you have done like thousands of times, helped hundreds of thousands of people, but still exposure is never ending. He is doing networking through Google Hangout. It's not a face-to-face. However, we need to use technology wherever possible. However, nothing beats face-to-face networking. But it's a combination of how if we meet on Google Hangout first, then we meet in face-to-face. There's a little bit no like and trust is already established. You know, recognition of your face and your message, that really adds up to the whole value that we bring for each other.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That leads us to number 4 networking mistake.
Most people have no system for networking. Networking, like anything else in life, like good engineering, like anything that works well, you have a system. And I have a system that I have to think deeply about, because my system is so ingrained and I've been using this system for so many years, it has become a habit. I do it naturally. I do it organically. I do it 365 days a year, rain or shine, Christmas or New Year's or Labor Day, it doesn't matter. It is ingrained in me. I have a system for cultivating and building new relationships in an ongoing basis. So here's my system. I'm going to give it to you very, very, very quickly. I call it my system of 5s. My system of 5s. There are 5 things that I do every single day, 365 days a year, and I do it like a person gets on a bicycle and rides a bicycle. Right? You learn it once, and then it becomes a habit. You don't have to relearn it again. So what do? I write 5 notes every single day to people in my network. Right? I stay in touch with the people in my network. This is very easy to do now with emails, but sometimes I may do a handwritten note, sometimes I may do an email note, but I take 5 people in my network at random and I write them a note. I stay in touch with them, I send them emails, and I send them meaningful material. So 5 notes a day to people in your general network. The second 5 that I do each and every day is I make 5 phone calls a day to old friends and family members. Right? I don't spend much more than 3 or 4 minutes on the phone, because you don't want to spend the whole day on the phone reuniting and rekindling your relationship. But I look at my friends, I go through my Rolodex in my cell phone, I pick out 5 or 6 people every day, and I call them and I engage them. And because the human voice, this is what's important. The human voice conveys emotion and passion like no other tool that we have. Okay, so you can send emails and you can send notes, and that's good, but the human voice, the human touch is very, very, very powerful. So make 5 calls every single day to old friends and family. The third of the 5 that I do every single day, I make 5 personal contacts every single day to new friends. Because I meet so many new people all the time, I always have a pile of business cards and new friends that I've just started a new relationship with that I can call, or I can make a personal contact. When I say a personal contact, it could either be a note, it could either be a phone call, right? You pick how you want to make a personal contact. Remember, it's a new relationship. You did that exact same thing, Muhammad. You created a photograph when we were together. You sent me that photograph, and over a course of 2 or 3 weeks, you connected with me at least 2 or 3 times. So that's number 3. Make 5 personal contacts every single day to new friends. Now, the 4th of the 5 things that I do is I make 5 sales calls every day. We're always selling something, right? We're in business. We're always selling. We're selling our ideas. We're selling our passion. We're selling our vision for the future. We're selling our products. We're selling our services. But when I make these 5 sales calls every day, I'm not selling anything, right? I don't want my customers to hear from me the only time, only when I'm trying to sell something. So I make 5 sales calls a day, but I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to add value. I'm trying to see if there's some need that they might have, right, other than me selling a product or service that I can service them with. So 5 sales calls every single day without selling something to your customers or potential customers. And then that is number 4, and then number 5 is, and this is a very, very important one. I make 5 introductions every single day of people who need to know each other, and I do it by email. I do email introductions. Hi, this is Muhammad Siddique. Muhammad, I would like for you to meet Leslie Smalls. This is what Leslie Smalls does. I think he is a person that can add value to your life. You can add value to her life, right? Why don't you two connect? I see you have some common ground. There might be some ways that you can help each other, okay? And so I make 5 introductions every day of people who I believe and feel need to know each other. Those are the 5 things. That's my system. That's my system of 5s.
Thank you. I follow a system of 5 almost, but I may not regular exactly. You do it like riding a bicycle thing. However, I do take some days off, And you mentioned one thing, and very interesting. You make 5 sales calls every day, and you are not even selling something, So would you lighten up that one? What would you say when you call somebody? Hey, you want to buy something from me? Or it's like how you do it. I'm sure there's an art to that one, because many people are not good in selling when they call somebody. They can't even ask for sale. And how you ask for a sale, whether you're even asking for a sale, so that way you actually deepen your relationships.
Right. The purpose of the call, let's call it sales call, but it's really not selling, is to identify problems that your customers may have that you may be in a position to help them solve. Right? Is there anything that they need? Right? Is there any advice or counsel, any guidance that you can provide them? And how's the family? Happy New Year. You can write a whole list of reasons to call someone and not sell them anything, and just to show that you have a concern, that you're interested in their life and what they're doing, right? And that you're there to serve them in any way possible.
Thank you. That brings us to number 3.
Number three is that oftentimes when we network, we bring nothing to the table. We bring nothing to the table. We don't have the skills necessary to offer up, the subject matter expertise to offer up. We have not done the learning necessary. We're average instead of amazing at whatever we do. We bring little or nothing to the table. Let me put that metaphorically. I believe that the Creator will invite everybody in the world to the table of life to eat. Everybody will be invited to the table to eat. But if you don't bring anything to the table, and the only thing you do is eat, you will not be invited back. And the way that works, and it works quietly, and it works insidiously, is that two people might be talking about you. And one person says, well, let's invite this person to this opportunity. And the other person will say, well, no, I don't think he or she brings anything to the table. So what I'm saying is, whatever it is that the Creator has put you here to do, whatever subject you have you have expertise in, be extraordinary at it. Be engaged in lifelong learning, constant never-ending improvement, and personal growth and development. So that when the opportunity comes to you to bring something to the table, to share, you can wow people. People will look at you and say, yes, yes, that's good. I didn't know that. That adds value to the conversation. That adds value to the project. That adds value to the thing that we're trying to accomplish. So all of us must move from being average to amazing, because the world is changing. And anybody living in a garage or an apartment can do what you do, which means that everybody has to ramp up their game and be engaged in lifelong learning so that we can bring something to the table. You can't bring everything, but be good. Be an inch wide but a mile deep. Don't be a mile wide and an inch deep. That's what I mean by bringing something to the table.
That leads us to number 2.
Number 2, this is a big one. And this is one of the paradigm shifters. When I wrote my first book on networking 25 years ago, Success Runs in Our Race, The Complete Guide to Effective Networking, I was the first one to say in a networking book, because there were already 14 networking books out when I wrote my book. But I said in my book, as the philosophical foundation, that I believe that most people are networking the wrong way. We're networking to get something. Wrong. You network to give. And as you give, you get. If you're not giving, you're not getting. If you have nothing, it's because you've given nothing. That you cannot take out of life that which you have not put into life, just as you cannot take out of the bank that which you have not put into the bank. So the first and foremost principle of really effective networking and cultivating and nurturing powerful, long-standing relationships is you give first, you share always, the getting comes later. In fact, I have a little goal that I'm always challenging myself with anytime I meet a new person. Like you, Muhammad, you actually won this little contest. I don't ever tell people about the contest I'm in with them. And the contest I'm in with them quietly is, I believe the first person that gives in the new relationship wins. Now, in this particular case, in our relationship, you were the first person to give. Right? He said, listen, I have a very popular Google Hangout. I really would love to share it with you, because I believe what you have, you can share with others. And you gave me something first that was of real value, right? Of real value. And so now what am I doing? I said, yes, absolutely. Let's do this together. And so here I am on a Google Hangout, sharing with your network of people, and hopefully adding value to their lives, giving them tips, facts, and ideas that will empower them and make them better. So now, in return for what you did for me, hopefully I'm giving back to you. So remember that principle. The first and most important of effective principle of effective networking is you give first, you share always, the getting comes later.
Thank you, doctor. That's my honor to give you first. So that brings us the number one networking mistake you make when networking. So
absolutely, the number one mistake, and I alluded to this earlier in our conversation, is that most people think that their IQ is more important than their EQ. And EQ, for those of you who don't know, is emotional intelligence. Your ability to manage your emotions and to use the management of those emotions to help you build solid relationships. This is extremely important. And emotional intelligence is a science. There's a wonderful book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, and I recommend everybody, it's a wonderful little book, go out to the store, pick up the book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, and read that book 5 times. And here's what it says. It says that the relationships that we will ultimately cultivate in life through the management of our emotional intelligence, how we behave, how we interact with people, how we respond to their questions, how we control our emotions and not get angry or not get our feelings hurt if something off color or something unintentionally is said, and not say something nasty back. The management of those emotions. Can you control your emotions? You see, there are 3 things that make us up as a human being. There is personality, there is IQ, your intelligence, and then there is EQ, your emotional intelligence. Of those 3 things that make us up as a human being, the only thing we really have control over, the only thing we can really learn how to manage and to be nice and to be warm and to be cuddly and to be endearing and not be a BSer is our emotional intelligence. Your IQ is really just an indication of your propensity to learn, and whatever your IQ, whatever you test to be at 10 years old and your IQ, it's the same IQ at 50 years old. You can't change your IQ. I don't care how much new information and facts you get. It is your propensity to learn. That's what your IQ is. Your personality is your propensity to either be introverted or extroverted, right? So you can't change that either. You are who you are. God has given you a capacity to learn, and some have a higher capacity and they could be a rocket scientist. Some have a lower capacity and they may need to be in some job that does not require learning a complicated calculus. Okay? So, but your EQ, you can practice that. You can practice how to manage your emotions, and this is hugely important when you're out and about interacting with people, all kinds of people. Some people are a little bit crazy, some people are a little bit edgy, some people are somber, some people are nice. How do you work with those people? How do you manage those people is related to your emotional intelligence, and that will determine the number of relationships that you build over time, your ability to work with teams, your ability to lead, your ability to inspire other people, and to build the kind of networks that will lead you to be incredibly successful in life.
Thank you, Dr. Fraser. I have.
Thank you.
There's one bonus question. Before we get to the bonus questions, how you meet anybody anywhere in the world